If you don't do these things, you'll blend in with the tens of thousands of other high school liberos and never get offers. I've seen DSs with insane skill never make it to college because they miss these key details. And most liberos think that great defense is enough to get them recruited, but if you don't stand out in these ways, coaches will move on. So here's how to get real interest from college coaches and actually get results. And this is also something that I dive way deeper into in my free recruiting group. You can join that with the link below and get all this stuff. So here's what we're going to cover. Why it's harder for liberos and DSs to get recruited, common mistakes that liberos will make and how to fix them, and the 3 things that make you stand out to coaches. So first off, why is it even harder for this position to get recruited? Why is it hard for any position to get recruited compared to others? So liberos and DSs make up around 25 to 35% of most high school players. So out of all the players that play volleyball in high school, around 30-ish% are liberos, okay? Now, this means for every 10 high school players there are, roughly 3 are liberos. To put this in context, for every 10 high school players, 3 are outsides, 2 are middles, 1 is a setter, and 1 is a right side. So there's a lot more outsides than liberos, not very many setters and right sides, and there's a few middles in terms of how many high school players play each position. Now, there's about the same amount of liberos and outsides in high school, but there are fewer college roster spots available compared to outsides and other positions. So it makes it much more competitive than for outsides, right? Because it's the same amount of high school liberos and high school outsides. But when they all try and go play in college, there's more spots for outsides on a roster than there is for liberos. And so usually it's harder for liberos to get recruited for that reason. So that is why it is so hard for liberos to get recruited, okay? There's more of you than all the other positions except for outsides, but there's less of you that are able to go play in college because of how rosters work in college. So, mistake number 1, thinking great defense is enough to get you recruited. I've mentioned this earlier. Coaches care more about serve receive than digging, okay? This is point number 1. I want to break this belief within you. It is not about defense, it is about serve receive. Serve receive is way harder. It is much more valuable to have a player that is good at serve receive versus defense. So, just break that belief that it's all about digging. It's not. It's about passing, okay? Yes, digging is super duper important. It's the other huge chunk of the job that you play as libero. However, it's a lot of serve receive. A lot more importance is put on that than most high school players think. Libero with insane defense but shaky passing probably won't get recruited versus libero with insane passing and shaky defense, okay? Most college coaches are going to pick the second one, but has the insane passing. If you can't control the first touch, you won't play at the next level. This is for every position that is involved in the first touch, which is the pass and the dig. If you can't control the first touch, you will not play. The first touch is so important. So often in the spring season of our practices, and in the fall, honestly, as well. All year round, I hear my coach saying, we have to control the first touch better. We need a better first touch. We need a better first touch. In games, that'll be timeout. And he's like, okay, this is why we are not succeeding right now. We need to control the first touch better. It is so important. So many players do not understand this. So the first touch in serve receive is important, arguably more important than in defense. It's another story though, but if you can't control the first touch, you will not play. Okay, this is another way of saying if you can pass, you can play, which is a common phrase of just like, if you can pass, there's a spot for you on a team somewhere. Every team needs passers, okay? It doesn't matter how good of a hitter they have, they can never get them set because their passing sucks. So if you can't control the first touch, you will not play at the next level. So here's how to fix this mindset of thinking great defense is enough. Track your passing average, okay? Use stats. A lot of clubs have people or programs doing this for you, but if not, do it yourself, right? Stat your own games, okay? Track it. Aim for 2.3 plus, okay? Now, this is, again, with the passing 1, 2, 3, 0 scale. 2.3 and above is the college standard for most colleges. Obviously, D1, D3 are different levels. They're going to have different standards, but in general, 2.3 is a very competitive collegiate level standard for passing. Anything above a 2 is pretty recruitable, right? Because college coaches don't recruit your current situation and skill, they recruit your potential. So if you're passing at 2 in club and high school, you're a good spot. You're in a good spot, okay? But the most important thing isn't to pass a 2. It's more important than that to just get better, okay? So track your stats, figure out where you're at, and then try and get better throughout the course of the season, right? So, like, you could honestly track your stats the first game of high school, maybe the first week of high school matches, and the last week of high school matches. You could just track those weeks if you don't want to track every single ball you touch the entire season. You don't have that time, or you don't have a program to do it for you. Track the beginning and the end of the season and see if there's any progress, right? Improvement. That's what you want to see. And then do it again for club. Track your first tournament and your last tournament and see if there's any progress and improvement. Keep trying to improve season over season, year after year, okay? So the improvement is more important than like a certain number, but just so you have an idea of what is expected in college, it's around a 2.3 or a 2 for a competitive team, okay? When you're doing your highlight reels, show film of you passing tough serves, right? Not just digging. And this says easy digs, but not just easy digs or hard digs. Like, show serve receive tough serves, okay? A lot of the time I see serve receive film and the pass is perfect, and I watch the serve come over the net and it's nice, slow, high. Like, you need to be having tough serves that are low and flat and floaty coming across the net and you passing it well, okay? It's better for you to pass a 2 on a really hard serve than for you to pass a 3 on an easy serve. Because anybody and their mom can pass a 3 on an easy serve, right? Any club and high school player can do that. But if you can pass a 2 on a really hard serve versus a 1 or a 0, that means more, okay? So put competitive opponents in your film. Don't just put the easy stuff. And this goes for everybody too, if there's any non-liberos watching this. Focus on efficiency, not just highlight reel plays. Obviously, your highlight reel needs to have mostly highlight reel plays, but understand as a libero the value and the importance of you being able to handle tough servers, okay? The servers will be harder in college, but like internalizing that is really important. Like, whatever serves you've seen, doesn't matter how good your club team is, if you are number 1 in the country, if you win nationals the past 8 years in a row, doesn't matter. Once you get to college, the servers will be tougher, okay? So being able to pass at a really high level and being used to receiving really tough serves in club and high school is going to be really beneficial for you going into college, because it's going to still be a tougher serve, but instead of coming from here to here, you can come from here to here, and that's a lot easier gap to bridge than the big one, okay? So just think about that as you're making your highlight reels. Obviously, you want them to be good passes. You're not going to put any 0s or 1s in there, and the 2s aren't going to be all 2s all over the place, but don't just put lollipop serves that are 3 passes, right? Put some tough serves that are a 2, okay? All right, mistake number 2, not being vocal enough. This is huge, okay? This is the reason I actually got recruited as a DS. This is one of the reasons. The second one I'm going to talk about in a second. So a quiet libero is an invisible libero, and no coach wants a quiet libero, okay? There are some plays, or there are some positions that you can get away with not really talking very much, like in between plays and on during the play. Libero is not one of them, okay? You have to communicate constantly in and out of plays all the time. You run the back half of the court. Whether you're a captain or not, you run the defense on the team. You have to constantly be talking to your teammates, encouraging them, letting them know what row the other team is in, all the stats and, you know, things like that. Like, you have to constantly be talking. Quiet libero is an invisible libero, okay? Coaches recruit leaders who take charge on the court. That is your job as a libero. Again, captain or not, it doesn't matter. If you are a libero, you are expected to be a leader and take charge of and control the court. That is what is expected from college liberos, whether it's expected of you now in club and high school or not. So understand that that is what college coaches want to see, right? Things like calling the seams and serve receive. Things like reading the hitters and calling if the set is inside or outside. Things like directing. These are non-negotiables, okay, for a libero. This is not like, it'd be nice if my libero did this, but I don't need them to. This is what is expected of you when you get to college. So if you start doing this now, coaches will see that, and that'll make you much more recruitable in their eyes. I'm not saying you have to do all this stuff right now, okay? Except for the quiet part, you should not be quiet as libero. But like in terms of the more advanced things, this third point, seams, reading, directing defense and stuff, you can still get recruited if you don't do that right now. Just understand the standards and the expectations change once you get to college, and you will be expected to do this once you get there. Okay, so understand that part. So here's how to fix it. Be the loudest, most engaged player on the floor, okay? Doesn't matter if you're having a good day or a bad day, or if your team is having a good day or a bad day. If you're winning, if you're losing, if your coach is mad at you, it doesn't matter. You have to be the loudest and most engaged player on the court. Full stop. Always. That's the mindset you should have as a libero. That's what you should try and strive to be every single day, okay? Communicate early and often. This should not be retroactive communication. That means after communication. You know, ball drops between 2 players and you turn to them and you say, that should have been my ball, I'm sorry, I'll get it. Or, hey, I think that was your seam, right? Okay, cool. That is good communication. That is retroactive communication. That should be happening. You also need to have proactive communication, which is before communication. So before the play, calling the scene. Before the play, hey, watch dump. They're in row 5. They dump in row 5 a lot. Before the play, hey, they're in row 2. Or hey, they're in, row 4 and they've got 2 up in the middle, likes to run a B. Like, watch them hitting there. Or hey, number 5 is up in the outside. She likes to do a lot of deep corner stuff. You got that in the middle back. Like, proactive communication. Okay? Not just reactive. Okay. In film, right? Making your highlight reels. Make sure coach can see and hear you leading the defense. So, usually with highlight reels, I'm like, sound on, sound off, music, whatever, doesn't matter. Liberos, it is the most important position that you communicate in. All the positions should be communicating, but libero is the most important that you communicate with that one. And so this is the one where I would argue you probably honestly should have the volume on if you can hear you. Okay, sometimes you're in a convention center and it's really loud and you can't hear, that's fine. But like high school specifically, or like smaller gyms that you're playing in for club where you can hear your voice in the film, keep the sound on, right? Show coaches that you're talking to the place. Okay. That is something usually coaches have to like go and see you in person to hear you talking. And so if you can let them see that over the film, really, really increase your chances of them actually being interested in you. All right. So like I said, mistake number 2, not being vocal enough. That was one of the reasons I got recruited, is I was super vocal. Mistake number 3, not standing out with hustles. Also one of the reasons I got recruited. I'm an outside. I got recruited as a DS because I'm a really good passer, apparently. But the reasons that I got recruited, part of it was skill, part of it was potential, but big parts of it were my hustle, my hard work, and my communication. Okay, I made sure I was the loudest. Like, I did all of these things in my high school and my club teams, and I was the hardest worker in every single practice. I never walked. That was something that when I was growing up, as I had my coaches, in 3rd through 8th grade, my little elementary, middle school, like, I was not allowed to walk in the gym ever, and I just kept that habit with me. And so I never walk. I'm never slow. I'm never lazy. I'm always putting effort into every single play and every single ball. Whether I think I can get there or not doesn't matter, right? This is one of the reasons that I got recruited. This and the talking. I did those things, and I did them every single play, not just when I felt like it, or when my coach was happy with me, or when my team was winning. Every single play. And that consistency of these habits is what got me to the next level. So, just to know that about me. Anyways, not standing out with hustle. So hustle and energy separate the good from the great and the great from the elite, okay? You have to have a good idea of what it means to be a great libero, and what it means to be a great libero and an elite libero is hustle, okay? More than any other position, hustle matters. Now, I'm not saying your highlight reel has to only include hustle clips, so you should have clips where you're on both feet and you're making the correct read in the right position, you get a great dig. Like, I'm not saying it only has to be diving crazy saves and stuff. However, include some, right? Because you need to have the hustle, the go instinct. That's something that great and elite liberos have. If you've got 2 liberos and they have both the exact same skill level, and one of them has more energy and the other one does not have very much energy, guess who's going to get recruited, right? So it's like these things that you can control, hustle, communication, energy, you should be maximizing those as much as possible, because you can't control your skill. If you could, you would just make yourself as good as you possibly could be. You'd make it so you never made a mistake. You can't control that. You can improve your skill and work on it, but you can directly control your hustle, your energy, your talk. So you should be doing those things as much as humanly possible, because that's what you can control, right? You can't control if there's other liberos better than you, but you can control if you talk more than those liberos. So you should be controlling these things that are in your control, okay? Coaches notice effort plays. They notice quick recoveries. They notice chasing balls. They notice you staying engaged and things like that. So I'm going to make a couple points about these. Chasing balls, that's an effort play. Everyone knows that. Recovering fast is an effort play, okay? If you make a dig where you have to go to the floor, there's 2 types of players who go to the floor. There's one who lays there and takes their sweet time getting up. By the time they get up, the ball's almost coming back over the net. And there's the one that is off the floor before they even touch it, it feels like. They bounce off the floor. They just roll right back up. That shows hustle, that second one. Recovering fast shows hustle, right? Laying on the floor before you get up shows laziness, okay? So this is something that most people don't realize is a hustle play, but it is fast recovery after you go to the ground. The hustle doesn't stop when you touch the ball, right? The hustle never stops. Grind never stops. Staying engaged is an effort play, okay? It takes effort to stay engaged. It is not always easy to be engaged. So doing it always is effortful. It takes effort. And so that is something that coaches notice and respect and recruit. All right, so here's how to fix these, and I kind of already been talking about how to fix them as I've been talking about them. Don't let a ball drop, okay? Even in warm-ups. I had my old club director, actually. He was, talking with a college coach during warm-ups who was recruiting one of the kids on his team. And basically what happened was they were, just talking, and the coach college coach was watching the player and the club director, and they were just talking. And basically this player during warm-ups, peppering with their partner, is playing with so much effort it feels like it's like state championships game is on the line. 15-14 in the fifth set. Like, they are going after every single ball. They're going hard for everything. They're not letting a single ball drop. They're, running all over the place to get the ball, diving, all this stuff in warm-ups. Warm-ups of the first game of the day, okay? And the college coach was like, whoa, this kid is doing something none of the other kids on her team or her court are doing. This kid is standing out to me right now because of the effort she's putting in. I like her. Guess what happens? She gets an offer later, right? So it's like, this helps you stand out, is never letting a ball drop without effort. Warm-ups or not, tired or not, if you had your energy drink and your yerba mate, whatever or not, it doesn't matter. Like, always putting effort in every single play, even in warm-ups, because you never know when a coach is watching, and they're always watching. Recovery speed, okay? Again, this really is like a big pet peeve of mine, which is why I've been saying it a lot in these slides, but it's also a real thing that can help you increase your chances. Diving and laying there and watching the play from the floor and then getting up is not a good look, okay? It's not a good look. Dive, make your play, do the dive so you don't get hurt or whatever, but get up quick, right? Recover quickly, that matters, that shows effort. And bring constant energy, fire up a team every play, right? So a lot of liberos, I usually don't have to tell them to do this. This happens a lot with liberos. Liberos are usually the Energizer Bunny of the team. They're the team mascot. They're the ones jumping up and down and going crazy for all the celebrations, which is awesome and amazing, and that's how it should be. And just making sure that you are doing that if you don't already. That can be a really good way that you show that, because it's like the hitters get a lot of the recognition on a volleyball team, right? The setters really don't get any. Liberos get a little bit, but not as much. Having a libero who does all of this work to make the dig and make the read and make the pass and get everything set up for a great swing, and the hitter puts it away and they get a kill, and then the hitter gets all the attention and they don't get any. A libero who is okay with that, and instead of being like, I got a good pass and nobody's congratulating me, instead of doing that, is also turning to the hitter and giving them the hype for doing what they just did. That is a good libero. That is a good team leader. That is a libero that has character. That is a selfless libero, and those are all qualities college coaches want. So fire up your team, right? Uplift them when they're down and hype them up when they're up. You know what I mean? Continue to bring that spirit. That will help you be set apart from all the rest of the liberos, again, that there are so many of. So these may seem like small things, okay? And it's because they are, right? But the small things are what matters most, okay? Calling mine happens very quickly, doesn't take very much time or effort, but it really, really matters a lot in volleyball. You know what I mean? It seems like a small thing, but it's really important, okay? So these are things that you may think are kind of small, but they're really important, especially because most liberos aren't doing these, and you have so much competition with other liberos that if you do these things, you will set yourself apart from the vast majority of other high school players and put you in a really, really, really good spot to actually get genuine interest from college coaches. So, passing, communication, hustle. These are the 3 keys we talked about, right? These are the keys to getting actual, genuine interest from coaches and getting recruited from them. Coaches want leaders, not just skill players. This is true of every position, but especially liberos, okay? Liberos and setters have to be leaders if they're going to play in college. That is a non-negotiable position. So you have to be a leader. Doesn't matter if you're a captain, doesn't matter if you feel like a leader, if you think of yourself as a leader, you are a leader as soon as you put on the libero jersey. So you have to act like one if you want to play in college, because that is what the standard and the expectation is once you get to college. It's not just about skill, okay? It's not just about skill. Master these 3 things, and you will stand out, like I said. You will be head and shoulders above the rest of the competition, I guarantee you. These are literally right here why I got recruited. I'm a great passer, I talk a lot all the time, and I never give up on any ball ever and consistently have hustle every single play. These are my strongest, biggest traits in me as a player. Even now, as I'm now playing an outside instead of a DS, I still hustle and talk all the time and have really good passing. So it's do these 3 things, okay? Now, obviously, the hustle and the talk are 100% in your control, and the passing is not 100% in your control. Like I said, you have to work and improve that. And so working and improving on that is what I want you to do. I don't want you to take away from this that you have to pass 2.3 to make it to college. That is not what I said. Rewind the video if you are not remembering, because I know it was a while ago now. You need to focus on improving your passing, okay? That is all that I wanted you to do. You have to track it in order to improve it, because if you don't know how you pass, how you expect to know how you pass better. But track it, figure out how you're passing, and then just get better. Doesn't matter how much, but just get better. It can be going from passing a 1.2 to a 1.3 over the course of the season, right? But if you do that all 4 years of high school for club and high school, you will go from 1.2 to a 2.0. That's a big difference, okay? So small gains add up over time into big, big, big differences. So just get better with the passing, okay? I just want to make a note on that because I don't want people to think that they have to be this perfect passer to play in college, okay? So again, if you want more information on all of this stuff for free, you can click the link in the description to join my recruiting group. But other than that, that is all for this. This video is how to get recruited in 8 steps, the back row overview of everything. So if you haven't watched that, click here. This is a really, really good one. Other than that, I will see you later.